everybody, welcome back. Today we have a video about how we are old AF vegans.
Speak for yourself, I'm not that old. I am the older one, so I guess I don't get to say that.
So, while we have certainly not been vegan the longest out of our friends, we have Michelle and Josh from Herbivore that have been vegan for longer than us, and they actually have a shirt that says like, something like old vegan or something like that. Speaking of, before I forget, and it's coincidentally wearing this shirt because we didn't plan this, they're having a 30% off sale on all vegan strong clothing right now. No code needed. Herbivore clothing. OG vegans, check them out. And Jeff Palmer, the owner and CEO of Clean Machine, has been vegan for like almost 40 years.
Has he been vegan since like before they coined the term vegan? I don't even know.
I think so, actually. I'm pretty sure. So Jeff's probably gonna watch this video and laugh at us the same way we have found ourselves laughing at some other stuff lately. What inspired this video is that I found out that this vegan recipe has been going viral on TikTok for 2-ingredient vegan meat. And I was like, wow, 2-ingredient vegan meat? I wanna see what this recipe is. It is taking flour and washing the starch away. So the ingredients are flour and water, which is exactly how seitan was originally made. That's literally how we had to make it if you wanted to make seitan. Back in the day, you had to just take flour and wash away the starch because they had not started producing vital wheat gluten yet, which is essentially just that. It's flour with the starch removed, just leaving the gluten protein. So this new, hip, cool, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening, wow, type of recipe that's going viral on TikTok is literally how seitan was made originally. And it made me feel really old, and I imagine this is how like all the old people felt at the beginning of quarantine when all the young people were like,
you can make sourdough bread in your kitchen with just flour and water.
Well, the older generation was probably just like, yup. That's how you do it. And this is how I feel now in the vegan community at this point. So we thought it'd be fun to talk about some of the things that were different in the world back when we first went vegan.
Okay, and this is where you got me, because I think you've been vegan for a couple of years more than I have, and I definitely went a little off the deep end into like the raw food world and explored that before I got really into the fun vegan food. So
also, he lived in New York City, which is very, very different than living in Haverhill, nowhere, Massachusetts.
Well, wait a minute.
Where I lived.
And not to get too off topic, but I feel like when we moved out here in Haverhill about 6 years ago, I feel like we
6 years?
Has it been longer than that?
It's been 10 years.
Whatever. 10 years ago.
That's how you know you're getting old, babe.
Seriously, here in Haverhill, I felt like we were the only vegans that I was aware of. So what was it like in the before times when you first went vegan? Were you really the only vegan in Haverhill?
I did not know a single other vegan. I had never met another vegan. Like, I didn't know any. Nobody knew what it was. So you're a vegan?
What's a vegan?
That's what people would say. No one knew what it was. I mean, there were things about it that I didn't, I learned for years and years. Guys, I didn't own a computer. I didn't have a computer when I went vegan, and I want you to think about how hard it is to go vegan without a computer.
Meanwhile, back in New York, I mean, I was able to meet plenty of other vegans, but it was still like this weird low-key thing where if you wanted to meet the other vegans, you had to bring food and go to a potluck. It was like the weirdest thing, just to meet other like-minded individuals. In New York City, of all places, you still had to go to like these secret underlayer, underground, however you want to frame it, type vegan meetups where the other vegans were and actually existed.
But there were no potlucks here. No potlucks, because that would require other people to also be vegans. So yeah, it was just really crazy. I think about how like the only resources that I had was either going to the library, which is where the computers were, and obviously any vegan books, and then also Barnes & Noble as well. So I would get stuff from there. You were like vegan by omission, which is something that I always suggest to people that they don't do that when they go vegan. We think about going vegan as just removing animal products from what we were eating, but that's exactly what I was doing back when I first did it, and it was very limiting at the time. But because I was so like dedicated to this cause, because for me it was a very animal rights movement thing to do, all I was doing was removing animal products, and I was not adding anything else for like years, which is a very dumb thing to do. But I was also 16. So tell me what 16-year-olds are very smart about their nutrition. It's a short list.
Meanwhile, I was trying to do the thing where I just swapped the non-vegan thing for the vegan thing, and it was just not working. Like I had...
Because there like was nothing. So wait, what year did you go vegan? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, 2004. Right at the end of the year.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went vegan in 2002. I was 16, and you must have been 23?
24.
Wow.
Yeah, real old.
So, for those of you doing the math.
Don't do the math, please.
I'm 35, and Giacomo's 40.
We're not supposed to talk about age, Danny.
Giacomo's 40, everybody.
Yeah, I couldn't find access to protein powder, which was deeply disturbing because I had been bodybuilding for already like 13, 14 years, and I was not going without my whey protein. And I had to scour the internet all around. I'm like doing like deep dive searches into everything I could find. And finally, I found access to just real plain old pea protein, and it did not taste good. And I was fortunate to find it. I was like on the phone with this person. I'm like, listen, get on the horn with me. I need all of your pea protein. How much can I have? I was like, I want 50 pounds of it now. And that was how I made the switch. But before then, in hindsight, I guess they did have like really crappy soy protein.
Well, I mean, I wasn't really looking for protein powder. Again, I was 16 and did not care about nutrition whatsoever. But I do remember that at Wild Oats, before Whole Foods ran the world, I would skip school to go to Wild Oats so I could scour the shelves for vegan products. That's a true story. That was like a good time for me in high school. And they did have like these really weird no-name brand canisters, like with the peel off top canisters of soy protein powder in like vanilla. It was not good. And I decided I didn't want protein powder right back then. But I was not lifting at all or interested remotely in exercise at that time.
So what other like weird old vegan things do you have for us to talk about?
So first of all, if you wanted non-dairy milk, there was soy milk or rice milk. There was nothing else. And if you wanted like milk in your coffee, too effing bad. There was nowhere that carried any non-dairy milk. Certainly not here. Starbucks might have carried it, but we didn't get a Starbucks around here until 8 years ago, 6 years ago. Yeah. So there was Dunkin' Donuts and other small cafes and Heavenly Donuts, and no, if you were vegan, you just learned to drink your coffee black when you were out and about, which I am resentful of to this day. Because I used to get my coffee, pre-vegan days, at Dunkin' Donuts extra. And if you're a New Englander, you're the only people that know what that means, so.
Or what a double cup is.
That's just a shameful thing that we do here.
You have to literally ask them to not use 2 styrofoam cups when you order coffee, or they will give you 2 styrofoam cups, because it might be the winter, but your hand needs to be nice and warm while you hold on to your
iced coffee, because everybody around here drinks iced coffee even in the winter. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Okay.
We don't double cup, but extra is extra cream, extra sugar.
So food, something else that just came to mind. So you were looking for accidental vegan finds, and I kind of remember doing that, but honestly, we were a little more spoiled in Brooklyn, and we used to wind up going to your local co-op or like your crunchy organic food store, and there would be some sort of weird random finds, which was interesting here and there. I mean, some oddities, but they were definitely like, okay, this food is vegan friendly or whatever. But if you wanted fresh vegan food,
what is fresh vegan food?
I mean, if you
wanted, what are you talking about?
If you wanted to like not, I don't know, find a random recipe in a book that you looked all over the place for, if you wanted to make your own stuff or have you actually could have food prepared for you. But it was like weird. It was like the weird crunchy vegan behind the deli making some sort of like random soy protein egg salad that was vegan.
So that's the thing, is like, if you ever did meet somebody who did know what a vegan was, the stereotype was that you were this crunchy hippie. But the fact of the matter is we were all crunchy hippies. We might have been really angry about certain things, but we were really crunchy hippies because we had no choice but to be, because the only stuff that was vegan was the crunchy hippie stuff, right down to like this hair care and skincare and makeup. Like if you wanted to find cruelty-free vegan skincare, hair care, makeup, it was going to be that super close to the earth doesn't work particularly well type of stuff, thus making you look grungier and dirtier than you actually wanted to be, and falling directly into that stereotype because it was the only thing that was vegan at the time. Ugh, this is a great time to be vegan. It's hard for me to not chuckle a little bit when I talk to people now in 2021 and they're like, man, it's just so hard to be vegan. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
What about like the vegan cheeses and the vegan meats and stuff?
I had like a private funeral for ever having cheese again when I found the first vegan cheese that I had ever seen in like 2003. So I'd already been like sans cheese for like a year and a half, and cheese was my jam, guys. Just like everybody else, I was totally addicted to cheese. I would sit in front of the TV after school, watch TRL, and just eat cheese out of the package. I don't know how I was 216 pounds. I have no idea. So then I found this, most of the vegan cheese wasn't vegan because it had casein in it, which that still exists today. Why? I don't know. But there was a vegan cheese called Veganrella, and I found it, and I went home, and I tried it, and it tasted like vomit. And I said, I will never have cheese again. That's fine.
And forget about the way it tasted. It just completely fell apart the second you tried to cook it. Microwave it, do anything with it. It just did not stretch.
Couldn't tell you. I tried it that one time and never ever got it again. So now there's like endless dairy options. Oh, you want ice cream? Tofutti Cuties. That's all you're gonna get is Tofutti Cuties, which are great, by the way. I still love a lot of these OG vegan foods. But there was no Ben & Jerry's. Are you kidding me? No. Haagen-Dazs? No. So Delicious? No. Not a moo? Not a chance. There was Tofutti Cuties.
Breyer's ice cream for a little bit.
Yeah, that disappeared. May it rest in peace. That stuff was delicious. Tofu Pups existed back then, and they just recently, I believe, went out of business, which is very upsetting, because I still like me some Tofu Pups. But yeah, if you ever went to a restaurant, there was no vegan option. There was no vegan option, nothing. And you had to like ask the server, so there's no milk in this, there's no butter in this, there's no eggs in this, because they didn't know what vegan was. And they would go back and they would ask and they would come tell you, and you would just like hope that they were correct, basically, because at least for me, again, I didn't have a computer. Nobody had a cell phone. You couldn't just Google the ingredients in something from your phone at the restaurant and figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while they get creative and come up with something cool, but it was like,
no,
not for you.
Not here. No.
But it was just frustrating to have to re-explain yourself over and over again. When you went out to eat, it was like better off just, I don't know, pre-gaming it or something with like a container, of hummus or Cliff Bar or something.
Bar. Back when Cliff Bar was an all vegan company, remember? Looking at you, Cliff Bar sellouts. Oh yeah. Everybody was convinced you were gonna die. I'm sorry, this one's so funny to me. When I told my dad that I was going vegan, he was actually in the hospital for some heart procedure. But I knew I was safe because he was like in a hospital bed and couldn't like scream at me or chase me or anything, but he was like, you already don't eat anything. Because I was vegetarian, which I ate plenty, trust me. And oh my God, he was so mad. And then I told my mom and she legitimately cried. She cried because she thought I was going to die. My mother has been vegan for probably 12 years now. Healthy as a horse.
Okay, well, we'll talk about what my family did when I went vegan. They were so confused on how to feed me. They honestly did not know what was what. They just started buying like lots of fruits and vegetables and like,
you gotta keep eating, you gotta keep eating.
I was like, not that much has changed here, people. Like, I still know how to feed myself. I'm just eating a little bit differently. Well, they also thought I was a little bit psycho, and in all fairness, I kind of was a little bit psycho back then. But yeah, no, they just kept trying to like be like, what are we gonna feed him? Where are we gonna like take him out to eat? He can't go out to eat with us. Oh, and the other thing with, I don't know how your family was with it, but they were constantly being like,
why do you gotta call it meat? Why do you gotta call it cheese? It's not cheese, it's not meat.
Why do you gotta call it peanut butter? It's not butter.
But anyway, I digress.
I mentioned this to Giacomo and I don't think he remembered it the way I remembered it. Eating carob because the chocolate wasn't vegan. Like chocolate chips, you couldn't find vegan chocolate chips. You couldn't find vegan chocolate anything. So you had to eat carob and convince yourself that it was chocolate. which carob is good in its own right, but it is not chocolate. And carob chip cookies are just not the same. But Uncle Eddie's vegan cookies are amazing. And I thought that they disappeared, but I saw them not too long ago, like they still exist. I would literally skip school to go get Uncle Eddie's vegan peanut butter chocolate chip cookies. They come in like a brown paper bag. I would eat that whole thing in the parking lot. And I still lost weight. That's the thing, is like back then, everybody who went vegan, almost everybody who went vegan, I can't say everybody, almost everybody who went vegan did lose weight because there weren't a lot of vegan options. And if you didn't already know how to cook rice and beans and quinoa and tofu, like you had to learn, and there was a learning period for that. So for a while, like everybody just dramatically underate. You couldn't just go to Burger King and get an Impossible Burger. It's just totally different now, how you can literally go from a standard American dieter to kind of a vegan standard American dieter now. That was not an option back then. You would go from standard American dieter to, oh crap, I'm eating steamed vegetables 5 times a day because there's nothing else to eat. Like you got healthier, at least short term you got healthier just because you didn't know what else to eat. And that's just, it's not the way it goes for people when they go vegan now.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, honestly, I think I missed out on a lot of the experimenting. Like, I feel like you got into all the recipe making with the cookbooks that were out there, like Issa Chandra Moskowitz and stuff.
That came way later. The first cookbook was How It All Began.
Okay.
By Sarah Kramer.
Well, bottom line is, all that I know is that I was obsessed with making sure I got enough protein, and I was not the best cook. And I would literally just grab a block of tofu and be like, what do I do with this thing? And I would grab a block of tempeh and I'd be like, what do I do with this thing? Well, it has protein, and I would just plop it onto the frying pan and be like, okay, dinner served, but I didn't even care. And then I met Danny and she had all kinds of crazy recipes and I was like, all right, this is cool.
And where did we meet? On the internet. Because that was the only place you could go if you wanted to find other like-minded people.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Just such a different time. So, have we made ourselves sound super old yet? I think we have.
Probably. I think it's time to like call out Jeff or Michelle or Josh or one of the older vegans.
Yeah, guys, you should make a video. Let us know what it was like when you first went vegan compared to now. You must have been literal aliens in your time.
Or some of the newer vegans, if you drop some comments below and let us know how ridiculous this sounds or the things that you find are different from when you went vegan to now, I'd be super curious to hear your spin on it.
And I don't think that anybody who's a newer vegan isn't also experiencing these things, because as little as 5 years ago, like, veganism is changing at an exponential speed right now. And it's awesome. So even if you've only been vegan for a couple of years, you've probably already seen some huge changes. And I think that that is just so cool. I don't care if you've been vegan for 5 minutes or 50 years, like, we're just happy that you're here. So anyway, we hope you guys are having a great day. Let us know some things that you remember that were different from when you went vegan, whenever that was to now, in the comments. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We put out a new video every Tuesday. And if there's anything you would like to hear from us, feel free to reach out to us. We would love to hear about the content you want to see so that we can make it for you.
See ya. Watch the videos.
Thank you for that contribution.
Yeah. Later.